concoctions. And by the way, some of them were really terrible, particularly one that I did with fish. It was like the most nastiest thing I've ever made. But most of the time, it turned out pretty good. And it was just some crazy shit that you just don't hear about. And I love doing that. I like to play. I'm a play with your food type of guy.
So you could do chef stuff for
Could
if
do
you
what?
wanted to. Is that close to being a chef?
Oh, sort of. So
I mean,
I'm not structured like a chef, like specific things that they like. These are the rules that they have, kind of loose rules. I don't have rules. I go by my own particular taste. I like some things that are considered weird. Like, for instance, when I ate meat, I prefer meat to be very well done. In fact, a little black, not burnt, but a little black.
Don't give me none of that pink rubbish.
Well, it's not just that it's like rare and that it's undone and all that. It's also I like the texture better. It's crispy. I like that.
Yeah, and you can cut it without needing a chainsaw. Yeah.
That's true. Very true. But I respect people that like their food rare. I mean, it's as long as it's cooked properly, it's safe. It's weird.
You can still hear me. I think you can. Yeah.
I can hear you.
I shared your stream on my channel as well, so it's going out to mine as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
No, I'm not. I'm a bit. I'll ride round a slug on the path on my bike. I'll open the window to let a fly out, but I'll eat a chicken or a gammon steak. I'm kind of hypocritical. No.
I don't know. Like, what specifically is the difference and that you're saying is sort of hypocritical?
Looking after the animals and not eating them and killing them.
So I don't see that as hypocritical, and I see this as part of the problem, actually, but there's some truth to it. You are removed from the process. Yeah. Even when I was a meat eater, I would admit, I cannot do what butchers do. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. It's wrong to me. But in the way our entire agricultural process works, at least I think around the world, you're completely cut out of it, and they do all that for you. And by the way, this is a side note. There is a long-standing history of butchers and people that do that sort of work and serious mental illness as a result. It's not so like clear cut, like it's just animals, blah, like it still damages you. But yeah, like basically what I'm saying is like you're kind of out of that. And I admitted before, like that's why I do it. It tastes good, and I don't feel like I'm part of it. But if it's not hypocritical, but if you analyze every part of it, you can't really escape that you're part of it because it's supply and demand. If you and people like you didn't buy the product, they wouldn't be killed. And there's some pretty terrible practices. In fact, I think it's generally it's the cheapest method, and that's all they care about. Not to mention there's usually government subsidies that make meat viable in the first place because it's far more labor intensive. You have to use a ton of resources just to get the meat in the first place, like water, feed, all that good stuff. And so if there wasn't government subsidies for it, it would be prohibitively expensive.
15,000 liters of water is required for 1 kilogram of red meat.
Yep.
Beef.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. So taxpayers sort of fund it and make it to where everyone can kind of buy it. It's sort of a weird process. But like I'm not yes, in terms of morality, because I think we've come to a point where even most meat eaters, I think, are at a point where even if they won't admit it, and you can't prove this because it's inside their head, but based on their actions, I truly do believe that most, not all, meat eaters truly do that think on some level what they're doing is wrong. On some level.
If they could see it happening, they might change their mind.
Yes, but
I think they'll eat whatever they're given if you make it easy enough.
Like every other fucking human
action.
If you wanted to eat,
also,
if you had to kill the cow to eat a burger at McDonald's, would you eat a burger at McDonald's? Probably not.
I wouldn't, and
Probably
that
not.
that would
we had to
solve
kill
it.
our pig.
But
I had an issue taking a fish hook out of a fish's mouth for the first time last summer when I learned myself how to go fishing and taught my daughter how to do it. And it was like, oh, now I've caught one. What the fuck do I do? This is
that's
pretty
right.
brutal.
Dilemma.
And I had to be
Dilemma,
pretty
isn't
brutal
it?
because I couldn't leave it attached, could I?
No.
So some
yeah.
people look at as that is less than animals, and I disagree because to me it's worse in certain ways because fish come out, and again this myth that they're stupid is not true, and like the 3-second goldfish memory myth is not true.
That's not true.
So
a forest on fire can signify to the other side of the forest that it's on fire by chemical exchange via its root system. Now, that still isn't consciousness and fucking blah, 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 because there's no like neuro fucking system within there. You know, there's no way to register that as an individual. But that's still pretty fucking cool, isn't it?
It is cool.
A holly tree getting its leaves eaten will grow spikes.
Yeah. It's chemical recognition and transfer and then adaptation from a signal from the chemical response.
You know what I find really freaky about trees is if I said to you that a tree can make something that's aerodynamic and can fly, you'd probably think I was insane. But trees actually do make things that are aerodynamic and can fly. The seeds, yes. Yeah. Those
heli spiraling ones and shit like that.
It is pretty amazing, but it is.
So how can a tree make something that can fly?
Where do you think our tech comes from? We mimic the things that we have observed, and a shitload of that comes from biology.
Yep. Well, all of it does in the end. Like for instance, people talk about
say that.
People talk about synthetic stuff and how it's so bad. Even synthetic stuff starts as natural stuff because we can't just create shit out of nothing. Like even if it's
still
like
have never made a stick in our lives as humans,
right? But I'm not saying we don't create new stuff. My point is that new stuff is built with natural stuff. Like it has to be.
Otherwise, you'd start with nothing and produce something. You produce a polyester shirt from nothing, magically.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making, basically. Because a lot of people, it's crazy to me. Like, I guess they don't think about it. They think, like, all this shit is just. It is true that synthetic stuff tends to be, on average, a little bit more dangerous because they just don't give a shit. Like synthetic, like drugs and stuff, for example. But I don't like this belief that it's an automatic catch-all, like this big generalization that if it's created by man, it's bad. That's not true. That's just
everything
not true.
Man does is natural. I mean, we are of nature.
True. But
I think part of the problem with the food thing is hyper-processed food and stuff like that, because it's really bad for you because of all the additives, the way it's made, etc., etc., etc. Well, if you think about it, like we're all natural, we're all from nature, this and that and the other, but we can't do what we used to do. We have
there
to
are
have
different levels of process, though. You know, like if you buy chopped vegetables, that's considered processed.
Rip the leg off the lamb and eat it.
Canning and salting meat goes back thousands of years.
And that is processing. You're right. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. They think processing bad. Cutting green beans is processing. Like almost any change to an existing product is processing. And just being processed is not inherently bad. That's just wrong.
Hey, but adding salt is a slightly more negative or more whatever the word is, that's a more detrimental level of processing rather than just chopping. But
that's
then
true.
Chopping and waiting a few days and then going off quicker or something may be worse for you. So there's a perspective issue as well.
Salt was always used to take the moisture out. You got to get rid of the moisture, it'll rot. So I mean, salted meat goes back. Way back.
I was trying to find out
they got across the oceans.
The most put in additives thing is in processed food and things like that. I thought it was sugar or salt, It's actually something like it's palm oil or something like that.
Hmm.
It's in just about everything.
Well, vinegar is one of the
everywhere.
oldest preservatives we use. Like
Yeah.
many things are pickled and used in that. Like,
And that's a relatively safe one. Vinegar's, I mean, it's actually healthy in certain instances.
well, it was
But
a result of wine going bad. That's how you got vinegar.
really,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. So, what is vinegar at its like base? It's like fermented.
It's wine. It's gone bad. The alcohol's just gone. It's just yeah.
Apple
So-
cider vinegar.
So all vinegar is bad wine, like even like balsamic vinegar.
Mhm.
I use
Interesting.
apple cider vinegar for my dog.
One thing you were saying earlier, Audie, you were saying about you like the meat, the salty goodness of meat. Actually, the only goodness you're probably going to get from meat is protein. But did you know you
Mhm.
can get as much protein from mushrooms as you can red meat?
You can, but generally people aren't gonna like mushrooms. One are usually going to be more expensive, and you're going to have to eat a lot of it.
I eat them together.
I
Mushrooms
personally,
and steak.
Yeah. Together's
personally,
good.
I think
Steak and mushrooms,
the
right?
best protein source for people that don't want to eat meat is legumes by
Lentils.
far. By
Or
far.
lentils are another
Well,
good
You,
one.
lentils
you
are
help that for your digestion. I had my gallbladder out because I had freaking 8 fucking gallstones in the thing. So I had to learn all this dietitian shit.
Yeah.
And I was doing a lot of arguing back then on chat about it. That's why, yeah, well, I had to learn the amounts that you had to have and all that shit. And the only one
Yeah.
that fucked me over in the end is you're supposed to have 2 liters of water a day. And that
Yeah.
ended up, when I did that, I ended up started getting water vacuoles all through my body. And
The
so
hell?
they're basically these lumps, and the doctors are going, we don't know what that is. So you go in for specialist analysis, and then they don't know what it is. So it's like, oh, you have the choice of do you want to go under and we'll go in and explore to find out what they are. It's like, nah, we won't do that. And I just waited longer, and then I thought, fuck this, and started drinking normally again, and they all disappeared.
Interesting.
So
Overhydration.
yeah, I
Your body evolved to be running on less water, so therefore, when you overdid it, it became toxic.
Yeah, but the overdoing it was what the Australian standard is.
Right.
Well,
what I would
that's what
it goes off your BMI though.
That's true, and a lot of it has to do with you personally. It takes time for your body
I'm
to
90
adapt.
kilos, so what's that? 180 pound, 200 pound.
Well, what
So
I would have
average
done
is all I'm
is
getting at.
personally, I think what would have worked better is if you had built up in moderation. Like for one, I think, in my personal opinion, I'm not a doctor or a dietitian or anything. I think water, the high end gets pushed too much. Like insane amounts of water a day, and like after a certain point, you're doing nothing. You're just pissing it all out. Like
Yeah,
it
you're
is
pissing
true
every
that
10
water is important. So I don't want to like get my opinion straw manned here. I just believe that it gets like the minimum is a lot. Like it's beyond necessary. In my opinion.
I do like 2 or 3 glasses. It's like as soon as I feel like a cramp in my leg or something like that, go get a glass of water. Boom,
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah,
I'm
and
generally
also
healthy these days.
you do need more water if you're more active, like obviously. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
should
hot
take
days.
that into a consideration.
The hot days, I'll drink it like it's going out of style and not even piss once.
Yep.
If I am not hydrated the correct amount, either way I have issues. But the way that I notice is digestion becomes harder. Like you're not straining, but you're putting a little bit more effort into expelling on the toilet type shit.
That's true.
Because there's less water there helping make it easier.
That's part of it, but also, and this is another plus for vegans, and I'm not just trying to be like, yeah, vegans, but like
this is why I know that being vegans helps so much, because if you eat that diet, it's so much easier to go through.
That's true. So there's the water aspect, and then there's what is it called that makes you
fiber.
Fiber is like it's awesome. And it also affects gut microbiome, not just like pooping easier.
Yep.
Well, yogurt helps with that a lot.
That's true.
Yeah. You want 25 grams a day as the Australian standard, and you get about 2.5 to 3 grams from each standard serve of fruit or veg.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's roughly a half to 2/3 your daily amount. And then I don't know where exactly you get the rest, but you still got to have like your carbohydrates and your legumes, like your nuts and your pasta to go with your fruit and veg. And you don't do the white meat either then, not fish or chicken. I just click. So you're full blind.
People have gone back thousands of years living off like just bread and broth. I mean, they didn't have these overly complex diets, and they lived perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, they had scurvy.
They didn't live long, though, did they?
That was vaccines. Most people they lived long if they made it through childhood. Childhood was the major killer of people.
Yeah. They used to say get your iron from red meats too, but that's sort of a fallacy. You want to eat your green vegetables.
So it is true.
Vegetables.
It is true that you can get more iron on average from meat. And by the way, there's also another semi-valid argument. The problem is it gets exaggerated. So the notion that you get complete protein, and what that means is all amino acids in one sitting through meat.
Egg.
That is true. Absolutely true. What the lie is, they act as if you have to get all amino acids in every single meal. That's not true. If you like mix up you use grains and lentils and different protein sources, it's not that hard to get all of your amino acids. You're just not going to get them all at once in the same meal.
An egg will do the same, but you don't eat eggs either, do you?
No.
I eat one a day.
And there's nothing wrong with it health-wise. I just think that it's a moral quandary deal. That's me personally, but like...
and we've selectively bred them, and it surely should be painful for them to be pumping out a thing that should be taking them a month to fucking build, but we're making them do it every day.
We domesticated chickens for cockfighting. That's how chickens became domesticated, and then eggs came later.
Yes, but after we changed breeding styles to breed them specifically for domestication, we really harmed them. For one, their bones are extremely brittle. They're not designed like naturally to pump out eggs like crazy. So it depletes their nutrients like crazy. And there's several different things. I don't know all of it off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot of issues in my opinion. And
you could get free-range eggs, Trobs, and then there's no moral quandary there. I mean,
yes, there is, because even free-range eggs. So it depends on how hardcore you are.
This factor that I brought up because of the one we're just talking about. We've turned them into monthly egg layers into daily egg layers.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors
kidney disease
included.
Or liver disease.
So even if it's like the lowest amount of like eggs taken or whatever, you're still essentially being like humans are superior in the sense that you're like, hey, you laid this egg and it's mine. And so the reason why I bring that up is because it's been shown that hens will eat their own eggs in many instances to recuperate nutrients that they lost during the process. So
we got 3 chickens here, and 2 of them don't lay anymore. I think the 3rd one does, but it's small, so they're really small eggs. That's on Mum and Dingo's side, and so they don't lay eggs. So I've been feeding these fucking things for 2 years now, but they're really fun. And the little bastards had mites recently, and I had fucking mite bites on me, and that was a cunt to deal with. But they're really fun, and I'm not kidding. Hey, they eat all our waste food and shit. It's great.
Yeah, I grew up. My dad had like 40, 50 chickens.
We like chickens. They will eat each other.
Damn.
I haven't seen them eat their eggs, but my mum used to break up eggshells and feed them back to her chickens. Apparently makes the chicken eggs go shiny or glossy.
Get
clamshells. You feed them clamshells, crushed clamshells, and it gives them the missing nutrients.
Yeah, cool.
You guys are really making me want meat. So I'm I'm waiting a year, but I really want to hunt now. And I know that makes a lot of people go.
For it.
Well, yes, a lot of people go, dude, that's fake. You're not a vegan. That's not true. All vegan.
Can you whack a camera on your gun?
I might could, but it would cost money. It would cost a lot of money because the camera would have to be able to handle that sort of velocity. And I
don't
like
think you can't use ARs for hunting. There's standards of what guns you can use and what seasons.
It depends on your state. I know all of the state laws.
I'm
have
Aussie,
no
I know
restrictions.
nothing.
I could use almost anything you can think of to hunt with.
I don't mean like a slow fucking frame by frame, Trobs, like a GoPro or whatever. Like on,
well,
I would see your target go splat.
I might do that, but so I'm not ready for that. In my opinion, that's something that a seasoned hunter would do because they've already got their basics
down. That'd be
down.
fucking cool to see from my perspective because I just don't see it.
I wouldn't do that, but what I would do is kind of go through the basics of like how I'm setting up and what I'm planning on doing and stuff like that. But I'm not going to get a shot probably of me actually taking a shot. That requires too much setup, and I'm not an expert. It's going to take some luck for me to even encounter a deer, for example. So
a GoPro on your AR and then just go next Halloween popping off pumpkins. That'd be fucking awesome.
You'll hit a deer more likely than shoot one.
Say that again.
Just get a dash cam. You're more likely to hit one with your car than shoot one.
That is
dash
true.
cams are really cool. I had one for a while. Got some really good footage, but it died pretty quick. It was like I didn't get it from Temu, but some cheap version. But yeah, got to get another one. They're excellent.
Bit of moose that might hit your back.
I've eaten a lot of deer.
You need a pretty.
I don't understand the hunting thing at all.
So for me, it's not about just like I like it and I think it's challenging. It's a sport, all of that. To me, it's just one. I can still eat meat and retain my morals because it doesn't break my particular moral structure. Because, well, the reason why is because, in my opinion, and I can back some of this with evidence, deer specifically are so overpopulated because their natural predators are now gone, mainly wolves and mountain lions because of humans, that they destroy the ecosystem. And in fact, if we left them alone, fawns and especially would die repeatedly due to not having enough food to eat. So in my view, I'm actually doing a service to the ecosystem. And
I think I've heard you say something similar. Yeah.
I would watch where that data's coming from because the insurance companies, they're the ones pushing to get the deer killed down.
Mm-hmm.
I was being more general. I don't know.
So I will not hunt in general. It
what
has
about,
to be
people going hunting for deer, like you say, because they're overpopulated, they need culling and things like that, and you've got amateurs going after them. Shoot them with a bow and arrow in the leg, and they run around for 3 months.
Yeah.
Now that is fucked up, and that's all about being humane. And there are
being professional, isn't it? Surely, and being a good
young people
shot.
are usually trained by the elders. Like my son went with his grandfather. Like I was always with my dad or somebody. Like you get trained how to hunt. You don't just go out and start hunting.
Right. And I'm learning that now. That's specifically why I decided I'm going to wait a year, because I could go hunting in like the next 2 weeks or so when season opens.
Well, you need a hunter safety course too. You need to get a card.
I know.
Before you can even buy a license.
I've got to do all that stuff. But the point is I was going to go ahead. That course is going to be nothing because I'm not trying to brag, but I'm analytical in nature. I'm going to ace that.
Mine when I was 12.
Right. It's easy. But that's the point. I know I'm going to pass it. So I could easily get through that and do it this year. I decided to wait a year so I have more time to learn, watch videos, learn about rubs and like how to note like tracks and stuff. And also the most important is like the humane approach. And I'm not going to take a shot unless I know I can hit a vital area that's going to take it down in a very humane way.
Yeah, just behind the front leg, right in the heart. You got to get them right there.
Well, the heart yes, it's probably the easiest, but it's very difficult because deer have insanely tiny hearts. So a lot of people go for like a range, like a circular. There's like 3 points that are popular. One is around the heart, but also includes the lungs. One is further into the lungs, but like up a little bit. And the other, I can't remember exactly. I don't have the diagram in front of me, but they're the most popular areas. But the problem is you can't have like a pinpoint, because all it takes, it's pretty common for deer to, I don't know what they call it, but at a gunshot, they're so alert, it can cause them to push down. Yes, that they'll go down, and that will screw up your aim, and they can do it in a split second. So you want to have like a sort of, in my opinion, you want to have a sort of larger range rather than one tiny point, because you're going to have a hard time hitting it.
Well, if you hit them in the lungs, you're going to be chasing that deer through the woods for miles.
That's true.
I'm a bit confused because I don't do this hunting stuff. I can shoot pretty well. My father was a marksman, so he taught me. But all this deer are overpopulated, they're ruining this, ruining that. First thing is probably people caused that in the first place.
Yes,
that's true. Shooting a deer.
That is true.
The second thing is, given that it's a moral thing and all the rest of it, there are 8 billion people on the planet wrecking the place. Why don't we shoot some of them?
I agree with you completely, but not for a food source.
We have firing squads.
No, I don't fancy a lump of Trobs. No, I don't. You know what I mean? I just don't.
Lots of dementia.
So I will agree, and I've said this myself, that the reason why deer are overpopulated is not their fault. It's our fault, because we screwed up the territory and killed wolves and mountain lions in my region. And that is our fault. But my point and why I do this is because we can't like have like a moral argument after the fact. What's done is done. Yes, I think that people suck, but like it's already over. And now we have an overpopulation problem, and we have to do something to curb it. Otherwise, deer are, one, they're suffering tremendously, and two, the entire ecosystem is collapsing as a result.
They tried that with elephants, I think. I'm not sure, a few years back. The elephants were getting overpopulated, and like elephants can eat quite a lot. And they wrecked the place and stuff.
Right.
And they were culling, I think it was elephants they were culling, and it was making things worse.
Why?
I can't remember. I also can't remember. It was a few years ago now. But what they did was they left them alone in the end, and they killed themselves. Because, as you said, the cows were being born malnourished, etc., and they killed themselves back to where they should be.
So I get that, but if you want to do the long-term fix without harming animals, in my opinion, you're causing more suffering, because they're going to die by literally starving to death, and that is far less humane than a gunshot, in my opinion. That's my argument, and you can feel free to disagree, but that's how I feel about it. But
no, I don't understand hunting as well as you do. We don't do things like that here much. We don't push people with horses.
Well, so that part of it is like a different location is going to change a lot of different things. Here, where I live specifically, there are a ton of deer, and as Gadwin gave me more information on, wild boars are a big problem, and they are destroying the ecosystem all throughout the South. So that's another problem, and I think those are also on the ethical list from my perspective. But like, to me, the meat, yes, I love meat, but that's not the primary. It allows me to eat meat, but I don't have to bend anything, in my opinion, because I'm doing something that's only helping the environment. Of course, you could argue that that's not the case if like I start doing it and I like suck ass and like I'm shooting them in the freaking lungs and they're running off and freaking bleeding out. Like that's probably worse than them starving to death. So it really depends on a lot of factors. But
what caliber is your AR, Trobs? Is it 762, I suppose?
No, and it would be better if it was. So this is part of the problem. I have a 5.56, which is generally not considered a deer hunting caliber. But to help mitigate that, I have specific rounds called Federal Fusion, which have bullets that literally stay intact and they're soft points so that they kind of
mushroom.
Yes, they mushroom. They're specifically designed for hunting medium-sized game. Now that's
add more rubber bands to the thing.
What do you mean?
I'm kidding. Sorry.
I don't get it.
That's my level of gun usage over here, brother.
Like, I don't understand any of it. Like, is it even like a common thing for people to put rubber bands on their gun?
No, he's
No,
talking
he's
about
no.
make it stronger.
I'm Aussie. We don't have guns. That's our level of guns.
Okay, I get it. I get
guns.
That makes
Aussies have
sense.
guns. I watched a guy down in Australia shooting rats, and then he was shooting foxes too with his 308. Like you have
308?
Farmers and stuff.
Holy
will
shit,
have
dude.
them. Yeah, farmers will have them.
It's
But
some
yeah,
sort
I'm
of
from a capital
duality.
city, dude. So yeah, I don't come
I'm
across them much.
surprised with your level of gun control that anyone can have a 308. A 308 is an extremely powerful round. That's a popular sniper round.
the blackout.
They're not. Oh,
That's
wow,
also
okay.
a good one. And 300 blackout is good for me because it can be, you can keep the same barrel with 5.56 and use the same
It'll
magazine.
probably be up north. Yeah. Up north, they got like wild boar infestation. So I'm assuming
You
that's
don't
why
need a
that.
308 for a wild boar, in my opinion. You can 5.56 is perfectly acceptable
I
for
like
that.
22 250.
Well, that's probably about the most powerful thing that they'd be using. You know,
You're right.
Yeah,
Right.
I can't think of anything else. That's all. We don't have anything. We got other things you'd want to shoot, but not.
Right.
Yeah.
We used to go to my friend's house. He had
Like
a 22.
I saw the size of a bear paw the other day compared to a human head. That is fucking massive.
That
I had
is
no idea.
so bears
That's
are the
confused.
biggest thing for me that has made me everything else I don't care ticks a little bit, but bears are the one thing that have been like I really need to focus on how to deal with them in my region. Now I don't have grizzly
You'll never
bears.
see one, Trobs. You'll never see a black bear.
Probably not. And they are
They're
far
so
more
skittish.
tame. Yeah, that's true. Black bears are. So I'm lucky that I have black bears instead of grizzly bears, which are far more dangerous. And then you have freaking polar bears, which are the king of the pack. Those people, those fuck you up. And there's no body
Well,
left.
you have black bears, brown bears, grizzly bears, and then polar bears. The grizzlies and polar bears are all up in Alaska, and the brown bears they're out west and like by the Rocky Mountains, and then the black bears are here on the East Coast. Black bears are like the size of a dog.
So I thought,
big dog.
The same people mentioning fucking spiders and snakes to me come from a country with these fucking huge bears in and cougars and fucking.
You don't see
it's
any of them.
insane, man.
but they're pretty rare. They're pretty rare.
Same guy, sorry,
You won't see a
same.
mountain lion.
So I would
Let's
not be a
go in.
I
hunter.
won't see a redback. I won't see a snake even. Really, it's unless I go in their territory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like if I lived in Australia, there wouldn't be no hunting. I would just burn down the whole fucking island. Like just burn it all.
It's quite large, man.
I'm kidding.
The moon on
It's
the
already
earth.
burning. It's
I'm
already
just
had
kidding.
waves.
Exactly, guys. It's happened naturally.
That's gonna take more than a gallon of petrol to do that.
That is true. I don't know. They have wildfires that like get out of control.
Well,
There used to be a
like
natural
120
occurrence. We have seeds that only like germinate unless they've been through bushfires. That's how regular fires happen down here. But now they're just happening like 1,000 times the rate. So that's the issue.
There are birds that use them, aren't they? Some sort of a hawk that picks up burning sticks and it will throw it into the bush to set fire to the bush to chase the animals out.
Mm-hmm. Birds tend to be very smart.
You know what I've been wondering? Is there, because I think, so I started with like being into like Melody, I think you're echoing again.
She always leaves the other tab open every time.
It's not the end of the world.
I had
But
a question, Trobs, about the shooting.
Am again?
Hi,
Go ahead.
Melody.
If you're shooting the deer because they're overpopulated, this and the other, blah blah, but really, you can't feel good about shooting the deer,
no.
killing it. Is there some sort of weird duality going on there?
So I'm not feeling good about it. So in my view, good and bad are sort of irrelevant. Like to me, and this is most of my moral views, by the way. I believe that utilitarianism is the closest thing you can get to objective morals because it can be measured.
Okay.
And that's sort of what I'm using here. It has nothing. It's morality in the sense that you are at least helping to alleviate a particular problem that causes even more suffering. So you have to do something bad in order to prevent something worse. That's sort of how I look at it.
It's still subjective to your mind, though.
You're right. So, okay. even with utilitarianism, you're going to go back to subjective, and I agree with that. So if you agree with the criteria,
sorry, I know it wasn't your topic.
You're fine, and it's a valid thing to bring up. And it's actually a good idea to talk about it so people don't misunderstand. So in the end, it's going to be subjective. But if the people that in question agree with the criteria that you're measuring, then it's objective. Well, the measurement is objective. Whether or not it's moral or immoral is not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair answer.
Be prepared to yourself with the fact when you go hunting that sooner or later, and especially in the early days when you're still learning how to hunt, that you're going to seriously injure an animal rather than kill it. And
that's a possibility, but the percentage chance of that happening can vastly be negated through proper training and just learning, education.
Yeah.
So I think that the chances that I'm going to just seriously injure an animal and then like lose it and it's going to run off and I'm like causing serious undue harm is very slim, considering I'm giving myself an entire year to talk with experts that I personally know and to train and all that good stuff. I think that like that's a very tiny possibility.
I think they just need to watch Old Yeller. And that would change their mind, kind of how, like, that's how you look at it, kind of in a way. Like, he's rabid, he's going to harm somebody and affect them with rabies, and then they're going to die. So you have to put the dog down to
sort of.
It's a bit like getting rid of all the sick people to stop anti-intellectualism. Just shoot a few of them.
So I think this is one problem as well. Sometimes people their intent isn't the same as what they claim. And you could even say that about me. Personally, I'm being honest, but you could easily say that a person that says exactly what I said as my reasoning for hunting is a bullshit excuse so that they can be considered socially acceptable for doing what they really want, and that is to kill shit.
Yeah, because they're better than the animals.
Yes, and that's entirely possible, and that's a problem. I admit it. But at that point, we're just getting into like, is that person really a good person? But the action, the end goal is still the same. You're reducing, even if their intentions are bad, they're reducing potential harm in a utilitarian perspective in the environment. So I guess you could, the argument would be, is that person good? And that's a fine argument to have. But whether or not that their action was good or bad, I think is not that questionable, because again, it's in my opinion, at least, it's fixing a problem, or both are bad. So let's get that out of the way. Killing an animal is bad. But I think that the overpopulation issue is worse, which means you're choosing the lesser evil. You have to
be on an individual basis, doesn't it? Situational.
Yes,
you can't
absolutely.
Say that generally.
Is the overpopulation argument genuine, though, or are people just saying that because they're using it as an excuse to hunt?
There's a ton of data on this. So on whitetail deer, especially, and wild hogs in my region. I can only talk about my region because I haven't really investigated other places, but there is an overpopulation problem for those two, and I can pull up data for it, like all over the place. So it's accurate. But again, like there's other things that are like valid arguments. I don't know.
Well, can y'all hear me without me echoing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
really
right.
loud.
You're okay now, Melody.
Oh, you can't. Am I echo? Okay.
You're not echoing.
You're pretty loud. Turn your mic down a little bit.
You could turn her down a little bit, Trobs, and while you're there, possibly turn Mal up a little bit in your person's list.
Maybe it's this one.
My headset is cheap.
No, yours is fine now. It's just compared to everybody else, you're slightly. Yeah.
That is true, and that tends to be the case. Let me get to it here.
I've got the same sort of shit on mine.
What about this one?
Anyway, good to hear from you, Melody. Been a while.
Well, so I was going to contribute to that. So I understand like about animals, and you do have to, you've got to assassinate them, not assassinate, but you have to. Okay, so in in Africa, they have to cull elephants even just because there is such a high population of them. And it sounds really cruel and horrible just because they're so beautiful. But that's what they
So I can get some ivory again. Ooh.
I just wonder whether hunters use that as an excuse for their hunting, and actually they're after the ivory. You know, that's also a possibility.
Piano season again, fellas.
No, that's not it.
Ivory's illegal everywhere.
It's illegal.
You can't buy ivory anywhere
it's
unless
illegal.
it's old.
But that's actually an example of why making things illegal doesn't necessarily change anything. Because if there's still a demand, the black market fills the void, and there's a massive black market.
You know what they're doing now is that they're chopping like a rhinoceros and elephant. They're just making them nubs now, which is horrible because they're so beautiful.
Well, actually,
that's what they're doing.
Elephants are now being born without tusks.
They grow in shorter tusks.
Really?
Yeah, because hunters always went after the biggest ones that had the biggest tusks. So by killing those ones off, you killed off their genetics.
That makes
sense. So
sense.
therefore, they're not getting passed. It's only the smaller ones that got the pass on. It's the same with deer here in America. People always go after the biggest rack, and by killing all the biggest deer, you actually kill those genetics off, and now you're getting smaller deer with smaller racks.
That makes sense. I hadn't thought about that.
Absolutely.
Fishing's the same way. People go after the biggest fish, and then you take that out of the gene pool, and then therefore the smaller ones go in, and then.
Yeah, we get a big cod these days, and it's like, what is that? It's like a baby.
Yeah.
There aren't any big ones. Salmon, same.
They targeted all the biggest, and now those are removed from the gene pool, and now all we have is medium.
You can't even bring like ivory into the country, like into any country anymore. Like you can't sell it unless it's on the black. Yeah, unless it's like on the black market.
But the only people who are buying it are like rich people, which I mean, there isn't that many of them. There's only like a couple thousand rich, like super wealthy people in the world.
They're buying enough to wipe out the rhinoceros, though, aren't they?
That's one of my favorite animals, the white rhino. There's only a couple of them left.
There's only a couple left.
Yeah, there's the white and there's the black one. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember which one is more. They have more. I mean, but they're both like pretty close to extinction.
No, there is one animal we're trying to protect.
A couple left is pretty fucking close to extinction, dude.
Yeah, they're
Panda bears are so stupid. They should actually go extinct just because of how stupid of an animal they are.
I fucking agree.
Thousands of them. There's not like a small population of panda bears.
Are we talking about MAGA?
You make everything fucking right for pandas, and you give them their fucking moment on their 2 minutes a fucking year to propagate their species, and they just sit there chewing bamboo at each other. Fucking dumb. We had fucking Wang Wang and Fooney at our fucking Adelaide Zoo for fucking years. Every fucking time it's a fucking big deal. Fucking crowds crew together to fucking have a look at this fucking panda do exactly the same fucking thing it was fucking doing fucking months ago. Yeah, no, they took it back in the end.
I don't know.
Stupid fucking panda fucks. It was just a merchandise selling fucking thing.
That may be
fluffy toys.
Yeah. That may be true, but I personally don't include intelligence and value for animals. I don't care how stupid they are. Really.
Without human, like even without human intervention, they were going to go extinct. Like without humans targeting them or anything, they were going to go extinct anyway. Like
that's a fair point.
But what are we doing? What makes us so arrogant?
There's tons of animals that are about to go extinct, and it has nothing to do with how smart they are.
99% of everything.
From the Asian zoos I've seen, it's probably just a dog in a fucking costume anyway.
99% of all life that's been on Earth is extinct. We are the last.
Sasquatch, I think, isn't it, Oddie?
It's because of humans, though. It's not necessarily.
No, it's not because of humans. Dinosaurs not good.
They had a legit tiger or lion there, Andy, and it was a dog in a costume, brother.
No,
It's a
Melly,
true
the Big
story.
Bang was before the Earth ever existed.
No, that's nothing to do with it.
Well,
Most animals went
no, they are
extinct when they weren't
stupid,
even here.
and birds,
Melody's got
they
a profile picture as well. I'm jealous. I can't get mine to work.
birds are actual. No, they're complete like
Dinosaurs
descendants
were
of
wiped out 66
dinosaurs.
million years ago because of an asteroid. It's called the KT event. It smashed in the Yucatan.
event.
Yeah, so that has nothing to do with them being stupid. They were very smart.
I didn't say that. I just said 99% of all life that was on Earth is extinct. Everything that's on Earth right now is 1% of everything that's ever lived on Earth.
Okay, I must have. Okay, I didn't hear you clearly.
Chicxulub, wasn't it? The KT extinction event, was it?
Pardon?
Chicxulub in Mexico, wasn't it?
Right above South America,
Yeah.
the Yucatan Peninsula there, that whole strip from Mexico, that tail comes down. It
We've
smashed
had
into the ocean there.
7-year
It's
extinction
200-mile
periods.
wide crater.
We've had like a lot of many like near extinction periods. I forget the names.
We've had
and
like
shit
6
that.
ice ages. I mean, we're in an ice age right now. We're always whenever.
Yeah,
there's
isn't
ice
that funny,
caps-
guys? I'm glad you know that. Yeah, it's full on because we're going up in temperature.
Yeah. I mean, the planet has been way hotter, but it happened over thousands of years versus all rapidly.
Nature had time to adapt.
Exactly. Well, now it doesn't.
Mhm.
Like we're seeing, like this hurricane Melissa or whatever. It's a Category 6 basically. If there was a Category 6 on the scale.
That's one in Jamaica.
And
I
it's
haven't
going to
even
get
looked at it.
stronger, not weaker. Drill,
Yeah,
baby,
like-
drill.
Well, hurricanes, all storm is affected by heat. Storms are how the
Energy.
Earth dissipates that. Yeah, exactly. It's how it dissipates the heat. It takes the air, spins it around, cools it down. But it was because of the heat and the warm water that causes all these big hurricanes.
Yep.
And the oceans right now are like basically like a hot tub. It's like 90-degree weather or temperatures in the ocean right now.
Oh yeah.
This
Well,
is
Ice Age.
Emily.
It was 6,000 years ago.
10,000 years ago, we'll be coming out of it.
This
The
is
woolly mammoth.
Well, they're actually trying to reverse some of that. They have a plan. It's called Pleistocene Park. It's up in Russia. They're actually bringing back the woolly mammoth. They took elephant DNA from
They're
the
trying
Indian
to do
elephant,
it, but
and they're crossing it
Fucking
with
point.
mammoth DNA, and they're going to try to
But
basically
why?
bring back.
Why? Just to do it? I mean, I guess
No,
so.
The scientists, that's what they do.
What's the purpose?
Because it will go across the tundra, chewing down the trees and everything which actually are causing the plant to warm there more by keeping it barren tundra. Basically, it actually keeps it colder.
Okay, having an animal in the
absorb heat.
tundra. What?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't
tundra, and
understand. Like,
they want to bring back saber-toothed cats and different things like that, and then create the ecosystem that was more around when the Ice Age, the Pleistocene era.
Because of this climate change, this in my mind though
no,
is
that doesn't
the
make any
real
sense.
reason why
Oh.
we should go and populate the moon and Mars. You know, you want to get your
That's
eggs out of the
impossible.
one basket. Yeah, it's nothing's
You
impossible.
can't populate
But-
Mars. Mars is a dead rock
well,
with no atmosphere.
you don't have to worry about population
at the
issues if
moment-
you just kill all the bad people worldwide. Just
Yeah.
kill all those fuckers.
Well,
We've already destroyed these failback loops in our natural environment, glacier
Feedback.
things that have been keeping climates the way they should be for hundreds of thousands of years that are going to take even longer to reset. We've really royally fucked this planet
we
already.
just need one big volcano to go
Oh,
off,
yeah,
and we're
for
going
sure.
back into an ice age. Like, if you study
A
about,
nice EMP, global EMP would be great
well,
because that
if
would
you-
reset everything.
If you look back to the 1500s, they had a couple massive volcanoes that erupted, and it's called the Little Ice Age. There's so much soot and ash in the atmosphere that actually blocked out the sun that people in England only had 1 hour of sunlight a day. And this lasted up until the 1800s. It was an extremely cold period. They had snow in the middle of summer. Like, it was bad.
Sounds like Iceland. It's
Sounds
Sounds
it's
more
called-
enjoyable
whenever
than
you have
having
the
our
last
fucking
eruption,
hottest days.
all the way over to
Generally,
Europe.
we had a 46
I don't-
degree
when was that?
Celsius day in Australia last week or the week before,
Oh,
and it's not even summer yet.
Yeah, it's
My
like
water's not
120
that hot.
degrees.
Hitting peak temperatures.
It's going to get hotter.
Oh.
For every 1 degree centigrade, it's like 7% more rains picked up in the storms. Like that's why we're seeing all these like massive deluges coming down and just flooding out towns and stuff like that. It's rapidly heating.
It's the apocalypse.
Not apocalypse, but
The apocalypse.
We missed the rapture. I must have been asleep.
I can hear you, little kitten.
It's the
Yeah.
apocalypse.
Oh.
It's a kitten. I thought Hobbs's hair had slipped.
I was going to say, show us your pussy melody, but it's Trobs with the cat.
Oh my god. I do have a cat here. Her name is Bella.
Trump has a ginger pussy.
I do have a ginger pussy.
It's her pussy.
And it's wet.
Cat.
Well, at least one of the eyeballs is wet.
I
Probably
thought it was
depends
just malicious gossip.
So the drapes match the curtains.
It's the carpet matches the drapes. Drapes and curtains are the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, fuck.
I kept here
Cheers,
lately.
guys. Thanks, man.
Numerous times in my recent videos, I've been making excuses, but I've finally came to the conclusion I have a problem. I keep saying like, "Oh, I got to draw back a little bit," and I'm not obsessed. Well, I'm gonna take it all back. I'm obsessed. I am prepper. There's got to be a mental illness for this because I see it happen a lot, and now it's happening to me. I'm like in
You're not
prepper.
doomsday prepping.
Not well, sort of like I
He wants
believe.
the zombie apocalypse.
Like
Wow.
I'm so prepper focused that I'm like buying fucking night vision. I'm burning up a ton of money. I'm buying like freaking camping freaking pots and pans and so much shit. I've got to stop.
You gotta get self-conscious whenever you're thinking, "Oh, I want this," and you gotta tell yourself, "Hey, stupid, you don't need this." Like I had to do that to myself.
Normally I do that, and that's my default. But lately, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm sucking at it.
What's
Like
your
especially with
default?
Amazon. Like you get on Amazon, you can click a button and you've bought something. It's like so easy.
I have never bought anything off
Mhm.
Amazon. The only thing I've ever bought online was video games. Everything else I make myself go to the store for.
That's
Oh.
useful.
To
I've
that
bought
and
tons of stuff
Temu.
from Amazon.
So
I've never bought anything Temu or nothing.
I buy everything online.
I
You know
do
what I mean?
now, and
Most
so
things.
there's good and bad. So getting it yourself, you actually get it right then. The downside to that though is you're almost always going to get shit on. Like one, you're buying it from an intermediary, like a middleman. They're going to charge more than it's worth because that's the only reason they're in existence.
More than shipping.
That's true, but like if you have Amazon Prime, shipping's free, and as long as you get enough to cover that, like
But
little
you're
bit of
paying for
money.
Prime, so it's not free.
That's true, and so I'm including that. But if you buy enough to cover that, you're going to come out better, in my opinion. But the most important thing is that you have selection. There's more competition online. You have the entire world in some cases, like for people to compete for the best price and the best product. You don't get that in person. Like it's whatever a store decides to put in stock.
Well, I'm really bad too. Like if I go to the store, I'll pick up like 5 things. I'll walk around the store and I'll cash out with only 2 things because I put the other ones on their shelf somewhere. And be like, well, I don't really
Yeah.
need this. And
I
like,
used to do that too.
I talk myself
And
out of the stuff I don't
there's
need.
some products that are difficult to find. I mean, so like the store that you want to go to, so like beauty supplies, for instance, it's going to take me like 30 minutes going through, store to try to find it. Half the time it's not going to be there. So it's easy to just boom, go to Amazon and it's at my door in 2 days.
I know
Stop
exactly
reading
what you
beauty
mean. Melody.
magazines because they're only going to tell you you're ugly unless you use their product. You don't need all that crap, Melody.
I agree on the need part. But like I just want certain things. Like ammo is a big one. You're not going to go to a local area. You're going to look for specific ammo that you're looking for, and most of the places aren't going to have it. I don't know why everybody sucks at having ammo. Like
Because
everything's always sold out.
it goes back to when Republicans always fear-mongered that Democrats are going to take their guns away and stuff like that. So you have all these right-wingers that are always just buying ammo, stocking up because they think the Democrats are going to take it away from them and all this shit.
Right. That probably does have a lot to do with it. But for whatever the reason, I like federal HST hollow points for my handguns. And of course,
What
I
are
don't
you
have to.
shooting? Are you going to like the shooting range or what the
Well,
fuck?
no. So I
What's
was
going
about.
on?
Well, for one, I was about to say this is usually a one-time purchase because you only get rid of hollow points if you're shooting a person, and hopefully that's not happening. So, but
You got
so
watch too if you shoot somebody or you get like in trouble with a gun with hollow
Okay.
points. That's a big deal because
it is.
You definitely have an agenda, huh?
Well, not necessarily. So if you're protecting
Not
yourself, for one, hollow points are better because they
Oh my
mushroom
God.
and expand in the torso wherever you shoot them, and they're far less likely to actually penetrate and harm another person by going through the other end.
Well, and plus
So-
they're going to blow such a big
What's
hole
going
out
on
the
in your
back.
life?
What do you
Who
mean?
are you thinking about shooting?
So
Or
you're
who's bothering?
Carolina,
Do you have like
Melody.
neighbors
you've
or
got
what's
this.
going on?
Once.
So you've got this completely
Well, something's
backward.
going on.
You got this completely backward.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
Tell me
how you're thinking is common, but it's I don't know how to explain it, but
you're
like
trying to shoot a person.
I'm not trying to
then-
shoot a person. It's for
Well,
defense.
you're
Fine,
thinking
not
about it.
It's if a person
You're
attacks
thinking
him, he
about it.
shoots things
So
down.
it's called
Oh
being
my God,
it's
Americans.
called being proactive rather than reactive. Being reactive
Oh,
is
boy.
stupid. You're
Yeah.
not
Well,
gonna
what's
like
up with your neighbors?
if a person. It's not about my neighbors. It's like I think everyone should be armed for defensive reasons, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, like
No,
somebody's
it's
going to
horrible.
carjack you or break into your house.
Yes, and
or
everyone-
smack you in the street.
And everyone says that won't be me. And I guarantee you a vast majority of the people that get mugged, killed, whatever said that same thing. Everybody, it can happen to you. It can happen to anyone.
Especially being a woman. I mean, you're more likely going to be like attacked than a man.
That is
Now,
true.
a lot to do to it. They did a study where they had a bunch of inmates watch footage of people walking down the street, and they said which ones they would rob and which ones they wouldn't mess with. If you were walking down the street and you're always like looking around, being very aware, self-conscious, like of your surroundings and everything, the criminals said they wouldn't bother with you. But when they see these people who are aloof, kind of just in their phone, kind of not really paying attention and stuff, they're the main targets for those kind of people. So the first thing is don't become a target. Don't be in your phone, just kind of not really paying attention to what's around you. Like the old lady, when we would go shopping, she would never know when someone's coming down the aisle. I would see them as soon as they would turn in the aisle, like out of the corner of my eye. Like I noticed every little movement around me, and always like pay attention, alert, and stuff like that.
And that's it's the same idea. It's you're being proactive rather than reactive. You don't have to have a firearm to be proactive. I just think it's a good choice, at least if you live in the United States.
Yeah,
be
so many other
aware of
people
your
have guns.
surroundings. That's all it needs to be. You don't need a fucking gun.
Well,
You
hold
just
on.
need to be aware of your surroundings.
Hold on. If
Just
you're
because we
aware,
live in America, it's
hold
okay.
on just a
Just get
second.
guns and
Hold on. Let me explain why
like
that's
cowboy
not.
country.
Let me explain why that's not a valid point. If a person is wanting to, for instance, hold you up and steal whatever you have, for one, statistics show they're probably going to kill you. That's just what they do because there's no person that can identify them afterward. So look, you're not going to go, I need to be aware of my surroundings. Oh, a person's got a gun. What are you going to do? Not a damn thing, because there's nothing you can do. You can't
have a 45 put to my head.
We can't get rid of firearms. It's not practical. It won't happen.
Well, you're right.
You're American, Melody.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
The Second Amendment, it will never go away.
It's not going to happen.
I know. I think it's fucking horrible, but you're right.
I agree. I agree that I agree that it causes a lot of problems. However, the reason for the Second Amendment, and a lot of people like to twist this, is that they won't include. They'll talk like a lot of people on the left, for example, will say the entire reason is if a foreign government tries to invade and they leave out this important part. It's also for our government. That is why it was intended in the first place, because our entire country was founded on leaving a government that was tyrannical. So they included that as a precaution.
But we didn't have a military. So after the Revolutionary War, he actually disbanded the Continental Army. So it was so that we would actually have an armed force in case somebody else did try to invade, which then Spain and all these other places we had wars with, Mexico.
That is true. However, I would say that it's still necessary because if the government, if the military in question turns tyrannical, then you have absolutely no means to fight back. You're screwed. That's the people you're relying on to protect you.
You aren't going to stand a chance against like ICE or the military. Like they're going to come in with all kinds of tanks and everything like that. You're fucked. So you ain't fighting back.
So hold on. That is true if you're doing a traditional military, which would never happen. If there was a civil war or like the military turned tyrannical, we would splinter into guerrilla factions like they did in Vietnam. And by the way, we couldn't win Vietnam even with superior firepower for that reason. We could win. It would just take a long time, and it would require guerrilla tactics, hit and run tactics, taking out their important strategic assets. But it's very doable. In fact, there's been these guerrilla tactics have been used even after Vietnam in like Afghanistan. And that's another reason why it just couldn't be done. So that's just my opinion, but I personally believe it can be done.
See, a well-regulated militia. That's every town. Well, because back then we had 13 colonies. So every colony had its own militia. And that was just the local folks that were trained and regulated. This goes back to the medieval era. Like kings used to have a mandatory Sunday. You had to train archery. So that way, if war came, that every man was trained with a bow at least, that they could fight in the army, the militia.
Mm. Well, that is true.
I do not agree with us going overseas and just pretending like we are the superpower and we're just going to like save everybody.
I agree, because that's always a lie. We're not saving shit. We're there to like take resources. That's why we do.
Well, that always amazes me how
military contractors
all these countries, and they're basically going in under the guise that they're the peacekeeper, and they usually end up killing about 10 million people while they're there.
Yep.
We need to take care of ourselves. Don't worry about all of these other nations.
Well,
so lobbying.
A lot of them.
It's military manufacturers that lobby the government. So you have all these Boeing, Raytheon. There's like 10 different companies that provide military equipment, bullets, guns, aircraft, boats, you name it, and they lobby to get the government to buy and spend more on that shit. And by getting us into a war, that gets them more money. Like Dick Cheney, whenever he worked for Bush, he got us into the Middle East. And as soon as Bush left office, Dick Cheney went and joined like Raytheon and became one of the board of directors.
That is true. So I agree with you, but I think, as with most things, we shouldn't think black and white. So I agree that it's crazy that we go around freaking making up bullshit mental gymnastic shit in order to take resources and kill people. However, I do think I'm not a complete isolationist, hands-off type either, because Ukraine as an example, as Max brought up. If we just said, fuck Ukraine, let them fend for themselves, then I look, personally, you can disagree with me, I look at Putin as like a Hitler 2.0 sort of figure, being that Ukraine is sort of like Poland. Poland was supposed to be defended by at least France and the UK, but they backed down and didn't. If Hitler had been pushed upon early on, he wouldn't have been as powerful as he was toward the end. And I think the same way about Putin, we shouldn't just let everyone do whatever the fuck they want on the world stage. We do need someone to police to a certain extent.
Well, this goes back to World War II. So if we wanted to intervene in World War II, Europe would be Germany right now, basically.
Exactly. That's my point. And I think that's what we need to be thinking about when we're talking about Putin. Like, it's easy for people to go, yeah, he just wants Ukraine. No, that's bullshit. Have you met Putin? There's no end to his desire for power. It will build and build and build.
A narcissist has zero self-awareness.
Yes.
But a better example of Ukraine and Russia would be Finland. So the Winter War, when Russia tried to invade Finland before World War II, Finland had a smaller army, but they used, again, guerrilla tactics, and they actually defeated the Russians.
Right. I actually want to learn about it. There's a book by Che Guevara, I believe, that's like considered like the greatest reading on guerrilla tactics. I want that book. I want to learn about it. I can't remember what it's called.
Taking out the leadership. Basically, it goes way back to like Roman times. Like if you take basically out the generals and the commanding officers and stuff like that, there's nobody to lead the troops, and then they become disorganized, and then it's easier to defeat them because they're not organized. Romans were very strict on like order and being organized. That's what made them such a strong force. Nobody else could do what they did.
Right.
Just to but then take a step back a bit, not coming from America, and you're all sitting there talking away about shoot this, invade that, not invade it, blah blah this, blah blah blah. I'm very concerned about, and it has concerned me for a while, about the mental state of people in a country that think they have to wake up in the morning, look down at the foot of the bed, and see a gun hanging on the wall to feel good, to feel comfortable, to feel safe.
I can understand that.
That doesn't sound very.
I don't have any guns.
No,
I don't need a gun.
So for one, you don't. It's not required, and GAD is a good example of that. For two, there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. However, me feeling like more secure isn't really. I mean, that's part of it for sure. But like, if you have like, for instance, like principles against owning guns or whatever, that's not going to save you. That's not reality. Like, again, most of the people that end up being killed by shooters or by burglaries, what have you, they don't think about these things. I assume they choose not to. I don't know. I'm not in their head, but for whatever reason, they're like, that's not me. I don't care. That won't happen to me. I'm a better person than that, etc. That doesn't change reality. You're still going to be dead in the end. And by the way, it's possible that I would be dead even as a gun owner, but my chances drastically go up.
Well, being that there's so many mass shootings in America, it's good that if an event would happen that you're local, that you could possibly take down the guys trying to harm more people.
Right. That's part of it as well. And that's sort of how I try to look at it. Like, and I hate to say it because it's like a popular trope with the right, but I agree with them. The best effective method for bad guys with guns is good guys with guns. And the data actually supports this. They don't choose.
Would be the first, and then that's the second.
Say that again?
Gun laws would be first, basically, like Australia. They're very limited, so therefore you don't have mass shootings. But here in America, anybody can pretty much get a gun.
So I'm going to disagree with that. And the reason why is because, like, going back to the video I made, when we look at the numbers, like prohibition, getting rid of alcohol did not reduce the demand for alcohol. And by the way, our culture is more gun centric than probably, maybe I'm wrong, but probably any country in the world. It's not going to change anything. What's going to happen is the black market is going to pick up the slack, and it's going to make cartels extremely rich. It won't change anything. You can't make something illegal in order to deal with the problem. It won't work, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, you don't.
We had a mass shooting here, and because of it, they took all the guns off us.
Right.
And we have not mass shooting since. But then again, we're teeny weeny, you know.
That's true. And also, I don't think you have the culture associated with guns that the U.S. does.
That's why I was asking about the mental state of people.
Plus, another angle to look at is it is true that certain people like me, I'm more of a law-abiding type person. If it was completely illegal, I would probably not own a gun. I'd be too paranoid. I would think I'm going to get busted, whatever. What's going to happen? The only people that have weapons are law enforcement, military, and criminals, because criminals do not give a fuck about the law. It's why they're criminals in the first place. And they will have access to them through the black market, which they have now, by the way, like even without it being illegal.
But then again, in general, I don't know what it's like over there because you're in a much different country. Over here, the criminals with the guns tend to shoot each other. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Yes, but I would say that even non-criminals, the rate, in my opinion, would go up drastically. One, they're going to be more likely to target you in the first place because mass shooting sites, just as one example, prove, in my opinion, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they almost always factor in perceived, what do I put? Soft targets. People that aren't going to fight back. If guns were illegal, no one could fight back. So it would escalate, in my opinion. People would feel emboldened and they would do far worse than they currently do, in my opinion. And by the way, my stance has shifted a little bit because originally I said, even if I lived in like Australia or something, I would not be pro-gun. I've changed my mind. And the reason being is the tyrannical government aspect. That's another angle. It's not just about protecting yourself against like criminals. It's about, in my view, if the government ever, and yes, I admit that this is not a highly likely scenario, but if it ever happened, you need to be able to fight back or at least have a tiny chance. And I don't think it's that crazy given events in the United States within the last few years, especially the current administration, to think that we might need to do that at some. I don't think it's an incredibly crazy prospect.
Different situation.
Well, if you try to fight back, they're just going to fill you with lead. Like, there's a couple guys who robbed a UPS truck, and they're holding the driver hostage. Freaking cops surrounded that thing, put like, I forget how many hundreds of rounds through the vehicle, killing everybody inside because they didn't care.
Right. That's a problem. But like, so outside of individuals, yes, if I was like one individual and like, of course, it's just me and I'm staging like a coup and trying to take on the government, I'm going to be dead within a matter of probably a few hours. So we're talking large scale. If we had like 5 to 10% of the population go, fuck this shit, and they're actively against the government and employed guerrilla tactics, well, for one, it's going to take more than that to actually win a civil war. So, but my point is, it wouldn't just be an individual. And no, they can't just, it wouldn't be easy to know who to target. And also, what I believe, and I could be wrong, a big portion of the military would automatically rebel against the military if they had to fight their own people. They wouldn't do it. All of this together, in my opinion, makes it to where it's a very viable possibility that we could survive as it stands now. But if we did this, like people that are talking about like assault style weapon bans, quote unquote, like all ARs, people aren't allowed to have ARs. Each time we have something like that, it makes it to where we couldn't stand a chance. We would be fucked. All we would have is what handguns.
Yeah,
like,
but you're not going to stand a chance against like a Bradley armored tank. Like, I mean, a Bradley's going to roll up and just and you're dead.
Well, but again, that's unrealistic. No one's going to like go up with a handgun and try to fight a Bradley armored tank. Not to mention the Bradley armored tank couldn't do much against you either because you're using guerrilla warfare tactics.
If you're shooting like an AR out of a window and something like a Bradley's rounds can pierce right through walls like they're paper. Like it would just light that building up like it's.
I don't think anyone's going to be stupid enough to try to attack a Bradley armored tank with an AR-15.
But if you rebel and they bring in the military and the police have like tanks and all these different things now too, because the police get the surplus. Old military stuff, and then they just take the cannons off of it and shit. But
that's true.
They still have enough firepower to fucking lay out most militias like they're nothing.
Yeah, well, if you're talking about a standard like army versus army, which wouldn't be the case, people aren't going to be out in the open fighting like traditional old school war. Like that's a thing of the past. Even major wars, like right now, Ukraine and Russia. Now it's completely different. Things are absolutely not how they used to be.
Drones now.
Drones are the biggest threat. And that's why, personally, I think a shotgun with birdshot is the best defense against drones.
You want buckshot that has the big metal balls.
Those big metal balls will probably miss. That's why birdshot typically is drones are relatively quick and maneuverable. Mm-hmm. And so, in my opinion, buckshot is for your actual like home defense, like someone breaking in your door.
For me, that's rock salt. They're gonna regret it. They're gonna live, but they're gonna regret every fucking life choice they made up to that point.
Mm-hmm. That's valid.
Rock salt is the nasty. So once it gets under that skin, it's gonna hurt and burn like a motherfucker, and they're just gonna lay there in agony.
It's true, but it depends on who. Like, if the person breaking into your home is a criminal that plans on killing you, they're going to kill you, even if you shoot them with rock salt. You're dead.
Oh, no. Get a good wound sometime and then dump a bunch of salt in it and see how much pain you have.
Well, no, it's not about that. It's about it takes time for them to even be aware of it. In these situations, adrenaline kicks in almost instantly. You're not feeling anything.
They might just feel roided up anyway.
Yes, unless you kill them or seriously injure them, they're not feeling anything anyway.
They're not stopping.
Yes.
Oh, I know some people got hit with turkey shot. I mean, they got peppered pretty good, and it put them down.
I don't know what turkey shot is. Is that like?
It's more like these little black BBs.
Oh, okay. So it's like in between birdshot and buckshot.
Yeah, I think they were always just called it turkey shot. But yeah, it's like peppered. It has like little black BBs.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're not stopping a druggie, are you?
Oh, you can. You hit them in the face with a fucking shotgun blast. I mean, just in the blast is going to knock them on their ass. And then
if you shoot them in the face, then they're probably going to die, even if it's turkey shot.
Yeah.
But also, I don't agree with this mentality in general, and it's fine if we disagree, but I don't agree with this mentality of you should preserve the sanctity of life for criminals. If a person breaks in through my door, and especially in my state, we have castle doctrine, that person is not like, I'm not trying to save their life. I want that fucker dead. I don't know why you would think otherwise. Like, why would you want to, like, I don't understand it.
I think we find it much more difficult in our country to do that.
Have you ever taken the life of anything?
I haven't, and I also maintain it's probably going to fuck me up, but I don't care. Maybe I'll change my mind if I ever have to, but at least right now, it's just pure utilitarian. It's like that person is a net negative to the world, and also they happen to be they're committing a felony just by breaking in my door, and legally I'm completely good to go as soon as they cross that threshold.
But the odds of that happening are slim to none. The person that's most likely going to bust down your door is the police, because they think you have something and they're going to raid you. Most criminals, they go to places that it's already somebody they know. Like my neighbor, he got robbed. He sells dirt bikes online. And he posted it, and he had people come from New York, which then came basically scoped out his place before that and then came back and robbed him. And like most people get robbed are drug dealers by their actual clientele.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the clientele in our country, at least.
So
the druggies they'll rob people locally because it's stupid, you know? Like the next door neighbor or somebody, like that kind of thing. So everybody knows where they are and who they are. Yeah.
So I could completely agree that it's like this is not something that most people are going to deal with in their lifetime. Absolutely.
It's
you're going to have
a 1 in 1,000 chance of being mugged or something in our country.
Right.
In the street,
That's
you know.
with a knife. And
it also depends on where you live and your lifestyle and stuff. Like I am, for example, I live in a fucking trailer park. I have almost a 0 chance of anyone trying to break into my home. 1, because they don't perceive I'm going to have anything worth stealing. 2, we have homes right beside each other. They're not going to get away with shit. So
well, everybody's gonna be out on their porch watching. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm safer in that regard. But outside of what I just said, and it depending on special circumstances and everything, like, yes, it's rare, but it can happen. And the problem I have is usually that's the mentality of the people that it happens to. Outside of what you mentioned, like your drug dealers, that it's more likely to happen to. I have no quarrel with those points. It's just that it's still a chance, and like it happens every day. And I think most of those people don't think about it and they don't plan for it. They just go like, well, that's not going to happen. That's like a tiny, tiny chance. Then it happens. You're not prepared. You're dead.
When I was younger, I had some friends. They used to go street shopping a lot. That means basically driving around looking for a drug dealer on the street at a corner or something like that. Well, they kept ordering, like telling them they want more and more of such stuff, basically saying they have a lot of money. So he just pulled his gun out, fucking robbed them. And so they're like, fuck, we want our drugs. So they came back, got a fucking shotgun, went back and found that guy and fucking held him up and robbed him of all his drugs and the money.
Damn.
Like, what the fuck, you guys? But I've had a 45 put to my head already because my friend and I were out pushing hay bales.
I'll be completely honest. My ass will be the most compliant, fragile motherfucker in the world, especially if you put a 45 to my head. I'm not doing shit.
Yep, you don't do shit. You freeze. And there's like all these people talk. Oh, I'm gonna be a hero. Like if somebody's putting a gun at you, you ain't doing shit, buddy.
Nope. And that also applies to being a person that owns a firearm. Like people will come up with these crazy cowboy fantasies, that someone's going to come in your home and point a gun at you and you're not going to reach for shit. If they are pointing a gun at you, you're stupid if you do anything but comply.
Yep.
The only thing you're going to reach for is toilet paper.
But the only time that a handgun is useful in self-defense scenarios is when you have time to react. Like a mass shooting scenario.
Yeah,
yes. Or if they break your door and they don't have eyes on you and you have time to be, especially if you might have the element of surprise. Yes, you have a chance then, and you actually have a pretty good chance because you know the layout of your home. That gives you an advantage.
The only way I really could see a gun nowadays being in the modern era is all these road rage. I watch road rage videos. So you get these fucking assholes that come out with like metal items and weapons and shit, come up to your vehicle like they're going to do something. All you got to do is pull that gun up, point it at them, and they're going to turn the fuck around and go back and get in their car. That's
true most of the time, but it's worth noting that even pointing a gun at someone is a crime. So,
but not if they're threatening your life. So basically, if they're coming out to attack you.
So it may change a little because you're in a different state. Where I am, we have pretty free gun laws, but like if they were to like threaten me or whatever, I still can't point a gun at them. The only time I can use the gun or point a gun at them is if they try to enter my vehicle. If they try to break the windshield out or the side window or something, okay, that's the only time.
Then don't point at them. Just take your gun out, lay it on the dash, and let them see that you have one, and then they'll just turn the fuck around.
Yes, and that's my I have that plan as like if that sort of thing were to happen, because that's a very common thing that happens, road rage shit. And I keep my firearm on my passenger side seat within hand distance at all times. And most of the time, I believe that the simple fact that I have a firearm beside me is going to make it to where I'm not going to have to deal with that sort of shit anyway. They might come to my window and be like screaming and shit, but the moment they see that firearm, unless they're an idiot, they're going to back away and be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I get the same thing because I'm a ninja.
It's road rage anyway, isn't it? They're already idiots.
Where I'm from, the only reason like people carry guns on them is in case they see a snake or a coyote or a fox or a groundhog, and basically they could just get rid of varmints and pests.
Well, the way I look at it, in vast majority of like realistic scenarios, it's there as a deterrent. I'm not, in very few cases, do I think I will ever be in a situation where I need to fire a firearm in self-defense. It's there to let people see it, and then they go, oh, fuck. And then they decide that they're not going to try whatever they were thinking about trying. And in my opinion, in most cases, it's very effective. It's similar to nuclear weapons in that area, except it's more of an individual thing instead of like a country thing.
You can open carry.
Dude, if you don't shoot the Coke cans, they're going to get out of control, man. And I'm kidding.
I know.
You can walk around with a gun holstered on your hip as long as it's like most states that have a concealment permit, which that's just to conceal it, hide it. But you can walk around with a holstered gun on your hip anywhere at any time, and nobody can say shit about it.
That is true, but I will say that I don't think it's that's how I originally started, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, that's not very smart. And the reason why,
it's intimidating.
Well, one, it's intimidating, and the courts can try to if something happens, they can say that you were asking for it, but for that reason. Secondly, if you're like say in a situation where you're in a restaurant or something and they're holding up the restaurant, you're the first person that's going to die. You're the first person that they're going to kill. I think that it's just not a good idea to draw attention that you're armed.
Well, dialing it down just a little bit. If you're in the street and you're meeting somebody or you're chatting to somebody or in a cafe or whatever, would it affect your argument with them if you were having an argument if they were wearing a gun and they were a little bit emotional? But I would shut the fuck up.
I would too.
They wouldn't have the argument to begin with.
Isn't that going to spread through your whole society?
Yes, and that is a factor, and yes, that's sort of a problem inherent in the whole deal. And yes, some people use it for that very purpose, to act like they can get away with anything. Okay. It's unfortunate, I'll admit that, but from my personal perspective, the Second Amendment, sort of like tyrannical government, and the self-defense argument overpowers that in my view.
That's fair enough, because I wouldn't argue with somebody who's wearing a gun.
I do think that's a very valid point, though, and I completely agree.
Okay.
I think more British people need to do that then, because I mean they argue with each other a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Well, so I from a free speech standpoint, I don't want to deter debate or arguments because I think they're important. I don't want to live in a society where you can't voice your disagreements or you won't voice your disagreements. I think that's a bad idea. So I completely agree with Mal's what I think his take is on this. I just think that self-defense, especially in my country, and the tyrannical government thing, I think that's more it's higher.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
Hey,
if
you
war ever
guys are
broke out-
allowed to have shotguns shackled to your motorbike still, aren't you? Like Terminator. You know,
Definitely 2000.
I don't know about that one. I'm not sure if that would be legal. It would probably depend on the state on that
Now,
one.
my state, you can have guns in the back window. So people used to have in the back of their truck cab, they would have a rack there. You can't have guns in that unless it's actually hunting season.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, it's Mad Trobs, not Mad Max.
That'd be pretty cool, though, driving down the street with a shotgun fucking strapped to the side
on
of your
the
bike,
YouTube dome.
Yeah, Death Race 2000.
So that's part of the prepper/gun thing where the mindset where I'm like getting obsessed. I've been thinking I have to have a revolver because I don't own one. I have to have a shotgun because I don't own one. But I've been more realistic and thinking I really don't need anything else. I've got a concealed carry firearm, a typical normal use firearm for self-defense, and I've got an AR-15. That's all
I would actually get just like a regular rifle. It could be a semi-automatic. Well, if you want to go deer hunting, you want to probably like a 30-06 or
I think
a 30-30.
So I think the
308.
cheapest method I could go with is to keep the AR and buy a different upper for it. That way I wouldn't have to buy a complete fire, and I could buy an upper that's chambered in a round that's more suitable for deer hunting.
Well, see,
I think you'll
ARs
probably
are
end up
more
chopping
a
a few
mid-range.
trees down if you take that.
No,
Say
it
what?
won't do shit.
I think you'll probably end up chopping a few trees down if you take that with you.
It's not as tall.
It's actually it's again, it's not a popular choice for deer hunting. It's viable and you can get away with it, but it's not popular because they tend to use more powerful cartridges that are larger for humane reasons. And that's a very valid point, and I agree with you on that.
The ARs typically are 5.56, which is a NATO round, because they found out in war, instead of killing the people by wounding them, you take like 5 people out of action because all those people got to care for that person and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's better to actually keep a person alive in combat versus killing them outright. So the 5.56 goes in and right out. Like it basically doesn't mushroom. It just goes, it's like a pinhole.
In general, that's true. But as far as velocity goes, it's far more powerful than any handgun round, including 357, 44.
Oh yeah. Well, Desert Eagle, but
well, I don't know about Desert Eagle. A 50 cal
hole through you, like
yeah, 50 cal is gonna freaking destroy. I don't want one. Like that's too powerful. You have to worry about fucking. You're going to shoot someone like in a home defense situation, for example, and it's going to go through like 4 or 5 other homes in that direction unless it hits a fucking tree.
The gun's going to fly out of your fucking hand if you're not like stabilizing it with both hands and everything.
Yeah, like I think it's very impractical. Luckily, I'm not that hardcore into gun nut culture. Like I'm not getting in that direction.
I shot lots of shotgun when I was growing up. I had a lot of different like shooting, like lost small game. I had a 22 for that, which I love my 22. That was the best gun ever. It was dead on. My 30-30, that was a nice bolt action Springfield. And then shotgun, what was it, 12 gauge. Now the first time I shot shotgun, that motherfucker kicked up, smacked me right between the fucking eyes, and like almost bloodied my fucking nose.
Was it a 12 gauge?
You're not careful.
10 gauge. I think it was.
Damn.
Yeah, it kicked my ass.
I had a single battle 8 bore, but they took it off me.
I've never shot one. I think shotguns have their place. Don't get me wrong, especially for home defense, but they're not really necessary.
They're bird guns.
Yes. Well, the best thing about it is its versatility. You can get different shells for different purposes, including special
I had slugs
shells.
for. My first time going hunting, I actually had to use a break action, a shotgun that used slugs.
Damn.
I could see that. Our training gun. It was a single shot, so it had you could only load one round at a time, and it broke. So you could basically put it under your armpit, the stock, and then you hung it down over your arm, broke, and then you can pop it around in it, click it up, boom.
This is slightly unrelated, but it's something you said before. But another thing to consider in the wanting your person to break into your house to survive, there's a common saying around here, and I think it applies pretty much universally, but not completely, is if you point a firearm at someone, you want to kill them. And the reason why is because if they survive, chances are very high that you're going to get fucked in court, even if you were defending yourself.
Who aims to wound somebody?
If your aim is to wound somebody, you're going to get fucked in court. There's no way
You're gonna
around
be a
it.
good shot
As
too.
long as you don't shoot them in the back. So if somebody's retreating and you shoot them in the back, you are fucked legally.
That's true, but
No matter the
shooting them in the first place, if they survive, they're going to prosecute you, or there's a high likelihood of it. So that's sort of that. You're right. I'm not denying it, but that's like a different sort of angle here. Like, it is true that they have to be a threat at the time that you pull the trigger. And I think that's universal across all states. Meaning, if they run away and you shoot them, you're going to prison for a long time.
Yep.
I would ask about your wanting more and more weapons and different guns and this.
So that's I don't understand it completely myself, and that's sort of why I was saying it's got to be a mental illness of some kind that I can research.
I was thinking that because you seem to have a lot of dealings with your current administration, and it's in your head, and it's just going on, that's going on.
Yes.
This political thing, that thing. It's like, are you getting a bit paranoid?
Yes,
No?
yes, and I've
Just a
only recently noticed it. But you're absolutely right. That's what it is. It's paranoia.
Right.
And it feeds upon itself.
Wow.
Then you buy something and you think of another scenario. So even if it's a far-fetched scenario and you're like, you know what? I don't have the good tool for this particular situation.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's what's happening. And that's why it's good that I'm aware of it, because now I've decided, again, I'm not going any further. I've got 3 firearms. That's all I need. Mm-hmm. And I personally think that even for like deer hunting, I can just get like 300 Blackout is a larger caliber weapon. Okay. It doesn't have very good range, but it's subsonic, so I could use a silencer for it. And it's sorry, you're right, suppressor. I could use that for it because it's subsonic. It's designed. 300 Blackout is made for subsonic rounds.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't break sound barrier, so you don't get that crack.
But it's a larger caliber than 5.56, even though it can use the same loadout for the most part. The only danger is I'm stupid sometimes and just don't think. And if you load 5.56 ammunition in the same magazine in a 300 Blackout upper, you just destroyed your shit, or there's at least a good chance you will. Yes, that's the dangerous part of that.
I like 30-30.
Okay,
30-30 to me, it's good for up to like 300 yards. It doesn't kick like a mule. It's not overkill. It's a nice balanced gun.
So it's what'll matter to me is the price range. It depends on how much money. Okay, then I'll probably do that within the next year.
Your regular rifles, like your bolt actions, they are not super expensive. Hell, you could go probably find one on like a Facebook Marketplace. Or
so another thing to consider that I want, I hate to do this, but it's sort of my paranoia, and like I want something to be versatile. Meaning, this gun for me will be excellent at least 2 things, and that is shooting deer. That'll be my primary. And sniping if I ever need it. And I know it's crazy. Oh, yeah. I know it's crazy, but I want
that's what I'm saying, to get a rifle. Like,
so is a 30-06 or something? Is that a good sniper rifle?
Oh, 30-30 would be all right. 30-06, 308, like they're all pretty.
So is good. A 308? So 308, to my knowledge, is like #1 for sniping. It's what it's known for.
The military uses.
Yes. So the question would be: is a 308 effective at deer hunting if you have the right ammunition?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like it's a very it's a sniper rifle. So I mean, sniper rifle is basically a deer hunting rifle.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's what I was looking for.
When I seen you got a scope and put it on your AR, I was like, well, ARs are mid-range guns. Like they're meant for more close combat. Like
right. Well, hold on. An AR can go up to 1,000 yards, and you can be relatively accurate. It's not good for deer hunting because it's just not powerful enough. But Go ahead.
Without like this, you have to have different tools. Like a spotter would do the
That's true.
elevation, the drop, the wind speed,
True.
and all this stuff. You ain't doing anything over like
But
300 yards.
but hold on, you need that with any firearm. So it in my opinion, an AR-15
your scope. Like you can have your scope set up, and then you read how you read your scope. It'll tell you your drop and everything.
That's true. Well, so for one, the chances that I'll ever need it for anything greater than 100 yards are very slim. So I chose to zero it at 100 yards.
That's why I would have went with a holographic sight.
I've thought about it, but those fucking things are so expensive.
Well, you can get just a red dot then. Like they're.
I do have a red dot, but it's canted at a 45-degree angle because.
You tilt the gun sideways. Yeah.
Yes.
Side mount.
I like that over the piggyback. It's difficult, but I can still keep cheek weld and maintain position.
So whenever I shot ARs, we had a red dot on it, and man, I could rip fucking targets apart with that fucking red dot. But when you have a scope on it takes too long to try to zero in.
That is true. So, well, for me, it depends on your intended purpose. So I think if I ever need to use it, which probably won't even happen, it's probably just going to be used for target practice forever. But if I ever needed to use it, chances are I'm going to need it. I'm going to use either my laser or the red dot. The scope is sort of like a rare situation type thing, and I
fire in the motherfucker.
Yeah, like it would be a very specific situation. Like if someone is attacking you from afar, and it gives you like a counter sniping capability in some way. That's really the only real reason.
But that's where you'd want.
My father was a marksman in the RAF, and how like you're talking about these guns now. I don't know what you're talking about. He had a Lee Enfield 303, and it's 300 yards. He'd ask you which eye do you want, and he had a rifle and a wet thumb.
Damn, that's crazy. That's fucking impressive as hell.
On your scope, you can dial it in, so you have your top, up and down, and then you have your side to side, which then you can do it like, okay, so it's the wind's blowing maybe 2 miles, so let's give it a click on the upper side to side.
Yep. It's just like anything. You get used to the firearm or the particular scope, red dot, whatever it is, and you learn those things over time. Like you need to become. That's why I believe people should stick with firearms and not do what I've been thinking lately, like buy a shit ton and put them in a rotation. That's stupid. You want to be an expert with your firearm.
Yeah, you get one and get familiar with it. And make sure you oil them.
Yes.
If you don't, those fuckers will rust up quicker and shit.
It's going to be like those guys you see on the films, where they go to the back of the wardrobe and they got a whole room that is just loaded with stuff, There's a bazooka in there.
There's actually go ahead, sorry.
At my grandmother's, we have a gun case that has probably 30, 40 guns in, plus there's more up there. Like my sister has a big old safe with all kinds of different ARs and all kinds of shit.
Why?
They just did it for fun, and they just go shooting different things. Some were for sport shooting, some were for hunting.
So for some people, it's collectible. They love guns and they collect them, and I could see that. I kind of like 1911s for their historical value and they're reliable in certain ways.
It's a nice handgun.
Yes, but
nice.
And it's highly accurate and it's very reliable. But I don't think that now I'm going to piss people off because there's hardcore 1911 people. They're not as practical. They're not as efficient, not as reliable as a typical Glock. That it's just, I'm sorry. Yes, it's great for its time, but, and it does have advantages in certain areas.
I would say get a Sig Sauer M17.
M17. I can't picture it.
It's the military standard issue sidearm. It's a wicked pistol.
The most common that I see with people for self-defense is a SIG P35, I think, a C P35. It's the most popular of all. And then, well, of course, the most popular firearm in the entire world is Glock 19 by a massive long shot. And there's a reason for that. I mean, they're modular as fuck. The 9mm is it's one of the best. It's the cheapest, and it's also
Sig Sauer's 9mm as well.
That's true, but Glocks are more modular. It's like the Honda Civic of firearms. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You can change out almost every part. Like that's
Sorry.
You're
That's
good.
funny.
Why? Why is that funny?
Oh, Honda Civics are fucking great.
Oh,
they're classic cars for ages. And now when you look at them these days, they're actually kind. Man, you're all good. I get
it.
Civics, the funny cars.
Well,
to us.
So in the 90s, especially the early to late 90s,
2000s,
the Honda Civic, and yes, early 2000s, they were the shit because they were highly dependable. You easily go over 300,000 miles in them without issue. And also,
did you ever see the Mazda 323?
No.
They were very similar looking cars, and these are like unique, like a V-dub. A Honda Civic had a version too. It was like a little jelly bean bubble. Well, I can't even. It's not quite like that. Yeah, the hatchback.
Okay, so are you talking about a CRV? Because a Honda Civic doesn't look like what you're describing.
Not at all.
Yeah,
CRVs are new.
There was it's the B series.
It's a specific. It's a specific series. Yeah. Okay, I get it now.
It's kind of like they
were around here for ages. I think it may have been 80s more, to tell you the truth. But
that makes sense.
That's what I think of when I think of Honda Civic.
So what I meant by
they're really good.
Yeah, they are. But what I specifically meant by calling it the Honda Civic of handguns is its modularity, its ability to change out parts. Like a Honda Civic, especially like in the 90s, you could change almost every damn component, like your bumpers, your freaking head, every single part. That's true. That's true.
Like Fast and Furious, that really fucking kicked off the whole car thing. Well, the kitting out your car.
The Civics in that.
But I have heard that new model Hondas aren't as dependable as they used to be. I've heard that.
Well, it's manufactured malfunction. Since the 1960s, GM wasn't selling enough cars, so they started cheapening up the vehicles. They only last about 150,000 miles. So that way you had to buy a new car about every 10 years.
I can see that. That's fucked up too. It should be illegal.
That's why they use plastic parts. They went from timing chains to timing belts and like all these other parts that would wear out.
You're right, and it's not just cars; it's everything: washing machines, refrigerators,
everything followed suit because it was about everything for shareholders. And it's weird. We have laws here in America. If a company is not seeking more profit every year, it's a crime.
What?
Yeah. So like shareholders can sue a company that does not seek more profit every year. So they want this exponential growth in a finite planet.
We're the most fucking backward fucking shit ever. Like,
it's capitalism is the whole system of capitalism, man. It's a snake eating its own tail.
I have to go.
All right, Mal, take it easy, dude.
I will go.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go as well. It's
well, as usual, it's
2 o'clock in the morning.
See you, Mal and Andy.
Take it easy, guys. And, well, you drew attention to it anyway because I didn't set an alarm today. I'm 15 minutes past. I've got to go as well.
Oh, that gun talk got you, Randy.
It did. So I am, again, it goes into my obsession. At least I'm aware of it. But I'm getting, like, sucked in. I spend a lot of time, far more than is normal, looking up, like, the pros and cons of revolvers versus, a traditional semi-automatic pistol, shotguns, different types. Jamming, how to avoid jamming, how to properly lube and clean a gun. Like, I am very obsessed right now.
Over infatuated with it right at the moment. Like me right now, I've been playing Forever Winter. It's a video game basically set in a far future where AI kind of warfare, AI like drones, all kinds of shit. It's like post-apocalyptic America and shit like that. It's all about guns and everything.
Right.
Scavenging.
I could see that.
It's really good, dude. I'll have to send you a video on it.
I think my thing is something that's part of a bigger picture. I don't think it's just guns. It's an obsessive tendency in
survival
many things.
Kind of thing.
Well, it's not just that, because it's not just survival/guns. Before this, it was like specific video games, or it would be like certain learning like topics. I would get absolutely obsessed with them and spend months, sometimes years. Well, usually it don't last that long, but it's like a obsessive streak on certain. It changes, but it's always
I get the same way. Like I get something new and I go into it 110%, learn everything about it, and then I burn out, and then I go into something new.
And Guns is a terrible one for that because they're very expensive. So,
my video game addiction. I have a lot of games. I forget my account's worth a couple $1,000. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
So yeah, there's a lot of things like that, but having that obsessive mentality and getting latched onto things, I think it's important to be aware of it and to be aware of the signs early on so you can curtail the damage.
When I was young, I was into cars, dude.
Oh,
and
shit.
Cars are expensive as fuck.
Yep.
It's like a boat too. The more all that money you dump into it, you don't get that back. Like I had a Acura Integra, the high-end Honda Civic. It was all decked out, like everything, and it's like it sold for like nothing because it doesn't hold value. They're just
Yep. That's true. Some vehicles retain their value better than others, but you still won't get back your aftermarket shit, which what you're talking about.
Yep.
And that applies to many things. And yeah.
Yeah, it's our whole system's just disgusting anyway. Like the low quality stuff, like nothing.
See,
a good one. Like if you had the 1969 Camaro, which was built with all steel, everything's good on it. Like most likely nothing's really going to go wrong unless you do something to break it. And now a modern car, you drive it more than 150,000 miles and it's falling the fuck apart.
Not only that, but the moment it leaves the lot, I can't remember the exact percentage. 10% of its value is gone immediately.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Which it's so marked up too. Like, did you ever see the car lots of all the cars that they produce that they didn't sell?
No.
They're massive car lots, and they have a big chipper there that all the cars of the last year's model that they couldn't sell, they just put them right into a fucking wood chipper and then write it off on the taxes. And so instead of giving it away to people that could use them, we could provide everybody a car basically.
Dude, that is so fucked. I didn't know that.
But yeah, so they get tax breaks. So when Trump did that big tax bill back his first time he was in office, it basically gave LLCs and shit the ability to write all their failures off and make the taxpayers pay it back for it.
Damn.
So like the company I was working for at the time was a cabinet company. They're making, I think they're running a kind of a scheme. They're probably putting in fake orders, building all these products, setting it up on the hill, and then saying, oh, the order was canceled. And then they could write off everything that was canceled onto the taxes and then get reimbursed for it.
That is fucked. I personally have never even been interested in the prospect of a new vehicle. I've always bought used, and I don't think I'll ever change.
Yeah, same here.
To me, it's just not worth it.
Well, I don't want to be shackled to a car payment.
That's true as well, and that's why I try to save up if I can. I know everybody doesn't have this option, but if I can, I save up a large sum of money and pay for it in cash. That way you're not losing money and interest.
Almost every single car mine I bought for $3,000. That was always like my first car was $3,000. My Acura Integra, when I got that, it was $3,000. Like my BMW, $3,000.
You've gotten lucky. I don't think I've ever been able to find a used car for that cheap.
I usually get local too. Well, I found the BMW was off like Facebook or some shit like that. But yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Usually I set that as a price, 3,500 or so like that, and you usually can find something pretty decent around that.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm having trouble lately finding a 4-wheel drive for 10,000. I might have to wait and save up more.
This current truck market is horrible because now the new Fords are like $110,000 for a new fucking truck, and it's like,
did that jack up the existing market?
Well, I think it probably because people instead of buying new ones, they're just going to buy used ones, and so then everybody's buying up all the used car market, and then that causes price because it's supply demand. So if there's low supply, then
that makes sense. That's probably what's happened. That's unfortunate for me. Either way, I'm not going to buy a lemon. Just have to wait a little longer.
I'd look for an old Ford F-150 from like late 90s to the early 2000s.
Well, one thing I know I haven't given out all the information, and that's for a reason. But the particular job I'm going to be doing, that's literally my whole job will be going from people's homes the entire day. So it's going to be extremely important. Like that, that is the most important thing in my arsenal of like job tools will be my vehicle because I'm going to be driving constantly.
Oh, did you see that video I sent you about LLCs, how the setup where you can basically write your vehicle off and everything like that?
Yes, and that's going to be very useful as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that after the fact because I plan on getting the vehicle first, then creating the LLC because it's going to take time after I get the vehicle to get everything set up. So I don't know.
File for the LLC first, and then that way it's already in the works, kind of. So that way the vehicle's there for the LLC.
Well, the one thing, and this is sort of paranoid, but the one thing that holds me back is the prospect. I know it's a low chance that I'm going to do that, and then I'm not going to be able to find a vehicle. And then I'm screwed. And then I like burned all that money, and it could take me forever.
Well, you could rent one until that point, or
That's
lease.
true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that. I haven't thought about renting, and that's a last ditch thing. But I guess I could if I had no choice.
I mean, it shouldn't be too much. I mean, it's not cheap, but I mean, it'll suffice until you do get. Because then once you start getting your LLC going, then you actually have revenue coming in.
That's true. But in any case, I better roll.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go back to my never winner.
All right, dude.
Forever winner.
Have fun, and I'll see you next week if you're available.
Yep. Later on.